The origins of some of our most popular hymns are discussed in Songs of Praise in 25 minutes here on BBC One, after a summary of the evening news with Darren Jordan.
New hope in the Middle East. Palestinian militants announce a 3-month truce. Both Hamas and Islamic Jihad say they'll suspend their attacks against Israel. The government's banning the so-called date rape drug. Dealers face 5 years in jail. And basking in the sun at Glastonbury. Organisers say it's the most successful ever. Good afternoon. 2 militant Palestinian groups say they will suspend all attacks on Israel. Hamas and Islamic Jihad have called a truce for 3 months, but only if Israel accepts certain conditions. Israeli officials have dismissed the announcement, saying it will give the Palestinians time to regroup. Well, our Middle East correspondent James Reynolds is in Jerusalem. James.
Darren, today marks perhaps the most significant step forward so far for the new international peace plan, the Roadmap. This weekend, the U.S. National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice has been here to try to push the plan forward, and she leaves just as the militant groups are declaring their truce. They carry out most of the suicide bombings which have defined and changed the course of this conflict. Their actions cheered on by growing numbers of Palestinians. Now, after weeks of talks, after days of rumors and whispers, the announcement made in Gaza.
Both Hamas and Jihad Islami agreed to give initiative from their side for 3 months truce.
But the ceasefire declaration comes with a number of conditions. The first, Israel must stop its military strikes on key militant leaders. And then, the army must stop its incursions into Palestinian territories. And also, Israel must release Palestinian prisoners. This is what Hamas has done in Israel. Suicide attacks against civilians. It's what it now promises to stop. But Israel is skeptical. It's seen militant ceasefires come and go. The belief among some, the truce declaration, simply isn't worth the paper it's written on. It all comes at the end of the visit made by Condoleezza Rice. Hers was a tinted windows, closed doors kind of trip. But she got what she wanted, and she confirms a rule. The further the envoys stay from the cameras, the more progress they tend to make. Tonight in the Gaza Strip, an unusual sight. Israeli and Palestinian officers shaking on a deal. In the morning, the Israeli army will pull back from parts of Gaza, together with the conditional ceasefire, a vital step along the path set out by the roadmap.
James, we've seen many false dawns in the Middle East. Is this just another one?
It's too soon to tell, but people here have long memories and they remember one thing. All ceasefires, no matter how optimistic at the beginning, tend to end in disappointment and in violence. But I think at the moment there is some hope for progress, some potential there. But there are also, I think, a number of potential obstacles. One Palestinian militant group, the Al-Aqsa Brigade, has still to announce or declare its ceasefire. And I think a key, crucial point is this. Israel says that it doesn't think much of the conditions attached to the ceasefire by Hamas and Islamic Jihad. So we'll have to see what happens if there is an Israeli military operation in the next few days. The key point is this. Most believe that if a ceasefire is to succeed, it'll need pushing, shoving and monitoring all the way by the United States.
All right, James, thank you. The American official put in charge of Iraq says the chances of capturing